Hi, YouTube world. Okay, so I posted something on my Facebook page, my more personal one, and I'm so nervous to talk to everyone about this. Everyone who watches YouTube. I found out the other day that they finally came up with a name for my other learning disability, Dyscalculia. I mix up numbers as, and so here's the thing. I don't just have dyscalculia, which is where you mix up numbers, you have trouble understanding them, you're always off. Andy Mack, which is a Disney Channel show, did an episode on dyscalculia. They kind of call it similar to dyslexia, but you mix up numbers instead of letters. Well, here's the thing. I want a name for both. I know that sounds crazy because we just got a name for dyscalculia, but I have dyslexia too. I don't just have dyscalculia. I have dyslexia, dyscalculia, and I also have ADHD. And ADHD is a form of ADD, and I forget how to say the other one. I have a hyperdeficit, and so I do have both. ADD was a name formed from two separate things. Some people used to call it, some people would only have ADD and others would have the hyperness. I have both. So I'm proposing because the post I posted on my Facebook page broke me down. I've been bullied for years and years because of my learning disability, and the other one that I had never had a name. The one for numbers, dyscalculia, is a new name that they just gave to it. And I'm finally got to have a name for it, but I want a name for both, dyslexia and dyscalculia. Because for years, I didn't know what it was, and I accepted that. I'm a weird person. I understand people. I had friends who are straight and LGBTQ community. I have friends who are different religions. I'm from the US, so to me, and I have friends who aren't the same. So to me, having a learning disability, I was pulled out of class all the time. I was told that my friends used to call me sped and a retard, a mean bully, and this is going to sound really weird because I was in 7th grade, and he was in 5th grade, and he was going to be in 6th grade, and he knew I was hanging out with a 6th grader. He asked me why I was and he's like, oh, you're that sped. And then they all start saying sped, can't spell the word bed. And I couldn't. But not only did I have spelling problems, which was dyslexia, I had dyscalculia, which is the name they give when you mix up numbers and have problem with numbers. I want a name for both now. I know that we just got the name for dyscalculia. I want the name for both. It's been a problem for me for years. I'm 24 and I never knew what my problem was with numbers. I knew my dyslexia, and I always called it similar to my dyslexia, where I mixed up the numbers and I kind of didn't get math and I had trouble budgeting, and I never understood why. And yeah, I have ADHD. I am hyperactive, and and sometimes they combine two names if you have the same thing. Like, that's why ADHD is a form of two different things. If you have ADD, it's more you have problems focusing. The ADHD part is where you get hyper. And I never had a name for dyscalculia. I never had a name before, and it's exciting and new. But now that we have a name for dyscalculia, I want a name for both. And I know asking that after just getting this name is weird and odd. And for years, I had problems. I also have a low IQ, unfortunately. And I might have other learning problems because my teachers always said that I just had a severe learning disability. And when I said that I mixed up numbers too, people always thought I just meant dyslexia. because they knew I had dyslexia. They knew what that was, but didn't have a name for it. And having both, and knowing now that I have both, I need a name for both, dyslexia and dyscalculia. I know we just got the name for dyscalculia, but for somebody who's been in special needs her whole life and being treated differently because of it, and I might have a low IQ close to being mental retardation because they might not know exactly what my learning issues were, and I have other ones probably too, and I want to know the names now. I'm sick of people brushing me off and saying, you have a severe learning disability, we don't know. Just like they didn't know what it was when you had trouble with numbers. I always knew that I did, and I always just consider it similar to my dyslexia, but I didn't know the name. And when I saw Andy Mack, it felt so good to finally have a name, and I looked it up. But can we please get a name for both? Coming from somebody, yes, I have bangs. I just push them off to the side to make them look cooler. Coming from somebody who also has ADHD, the reason that they give it a third name is because that means the person has both, not just one. Some people might just have dyslexia. Other people might just have dyscalculia. I unfortunately have both, dyscalculia and dyslexia. And I want a name for that now. I know it's great to have a name for dyscalculia because it means the world to me, just like anybody in the LGBTQ community would know. It's good to know what you are. And good to have a name behind it. I never questioned it because I was scared. Because when you have learning disabilities, people see you as... I was different my whole life. Worse than different. Different in a way that people made fun of. Even people who were, I hate to say it, but people who are in the LGBT community, I was made fun of by everyone. Not just white people or black people. I got made fun of by every person, even some teachers, because of how bad my learning disability was. And we're scared to talk about it because we truly do have a learning problem. And I'm not saying the LGBTQ community have learning issues. I'm saying that it's similar to... It's exciting and weird because no one wants to talk to us special need kids because they're scared, I think. I was scared. I was scared because I got made fun of by everyone. And my teachers didn't know what dyscalculia was. For years, I don't know who finally figured out the name for it, but for years I have had that. I have had dyscalculia this whole time, and I never had a name for my specific learning disability. And it is a learning disability. I also have health issues, so I have physical disabilities. To me, this is going to be a second part video, maybe 4.